game day. Come on.
Welcome to Kentucky Roll Call with Walker and Roush.
Roush, are you there? Roush? Welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday to you. It's Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. TJ Walker, your host, with producer Matt Childress over in the next room on this lovely Friday, October 3rd, 2025. Get your text into the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. My last radio show with a 3 and a 1-year-old in my life. She turns 4 tomorrow, little Lucy. Very excited for that. Our whole weekend plans have centered around a child's birthday party, which is, producer Matt, when you get older and your friends have kids and your family has kids and all that stuff, that's what your weekends pretty much consist of, is just birthday parties. But you got to do a little extra more when it's your birthday party, when it's your kid's birthday party. So we're putting the finishing touches on that, getting that all ready to go for tomorrow. So
scared me for a second.
Well, I was
started off when you said this is your last radio show. I was like, wow, first Roush, now you. The whole intro is not. I'm not even going to be in it. I'm going to have to run the show.
It's going to be Walker and Roush, and hello, welcome in. We're going to talk some U of L sports. I'm producer Matt. No, that's not last radio show for me. I'm here for the long haul of at least this upcoming season. And hopefully longer than that. I love Big X Sports Radio, and I love Kentucky Roll Call, and I've really enjoyed getting to know Matt. I think we make some good radio, and hopefully you all are enjoying that. The text line is the best way to get in touch. However, I think we're on the YouTube today. Are we, Matt?
We are, yes.
Okay, I don't have it on in this room, but that's a me problem. We'll get that going here in just, oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, you just go to YouTube, search KRC, Big X Sports Radio. It'll pop up. If you would like to call into the show today, feel free, 502-384-1450. Calls aren't our forte, but it's a Friday. You may have something to say. Go ahead and get it on in. Our daughter's school also did their big fundraising, fun day sort of thing. It's called the Mustang Mile, and it's where you walk through this neighborhood. The whole school does it. It's like thousands of people, seemingly. I mean, certainly hundreds, but seems like maybe over 1,000. That was fun. That was nice to get to do that this morning. But I haven't really gotten a lot of work done, unfortunately. That's probably the only drawback to all this busyness is I actually need to get stuff done to get the bills paid, and also haven't been on the internet much today. Enough to put together another award-winning radio show for you, obviously. However, I haven't been knee-deep in the interwebs as of today. But I do know the news of the day. We'll get to it. We're going to preview Kentucky versus Georgia. It's a fun college football slate tomorrow. I just wish as Cats fans we were a little bit more amped up and pumped up for it. Great baseball last night. Bummed to see my Red Sox be eliminated, but not the end of the world. It was kind of a house money season for Boston. I wasn't totally anticipating playoffs, all things considered. But congrats to the Yankees. And Littler, I practiced it all last night when I was watching the game, producer Matt, and I still just can't get it. Can't get it right. But he, the former Boston fan, he tweeted out after the game, drinking that muddy water. Can you imagine, producer Matt? Well, you probably can't imagine, but being a 24-year-old, you're what, 25?
I'm 26.
26. All right, so not too long for you to imagine being a 24-year-old. But could you imagine being a 24-year-old and doing the things that he did, given his background? Not only to just be a great baseball player, he is, but to grow up a Red Sox fan, be from Boston, and then go into the playoffs and pitch a shutout was pretty impressive. I bet he's on cloud 9. I bet his head maybe not or too big to get through the Bronx this morning.
Sound like the Red Sox got the schlit into the stick.
There you go. Hey, love it. Love a little production over there. I'm a huge fan of that, even if it is at my Red Sox expense. But yeah, I was hoping that Boston would get on to play the Blue Jays, not the Rays, the Blue Jays. And now what we have left in the NL, unfortunately the Reds didn't, they were swept, so they didn't play yesterday. The only team not to get a Game 3. But the Dodgers do advance there. They'll go on to take on the Phillies, which is just an incredible series, if you ask me. Both those teams are insane. And then the Cubs beat the Padres, and some controversy with that one. and they get to go on and take on the Brewers, the number 1 seed in the NL. In the AL, the Yankees advance for the AL East battle against the Blue Jays, and then Tigers-Mariners in the other AL series. And these are best of 7, right? Or is this best of 5?
These are best of 5, I think.
And then it goes best of 7 for the championship series, and then obviously the World Series. All right, I get confused sometimes. Keeneland starts today, which is exciting. Producer Matt, have you ever been to Keeneland?
I have not.
Ooh, that's a tough
one. I actually was supposed to go for the first time last year. A bunch of my friends go every year for a couple times, like they went to the fall races or whatever, and we went, and the tickets were like $15, and they sold out in literally like an hour. So did not attend.
Yeah, the selling out of the tickets, when did that start? This is one of the rare shows we may actually miss Roush. He could talk horse racing in Keeneland with the best of them. But when I don't remember, like when I was a student at UK, maybe College Day potentially would sell out because you had a chance at winning a free scholarship, but I don't remember that even selling out. And I don't remember there being this mad dash or rush for tickets. If you didn't get it by this day, you're not going to be able to go that day. This seems relatively new to Keeneland, where like, hey, get your tickets. Oh, they're sold out. Sorry, you're not going to be able to go that day. And then if you're Keeneland, what do you do about it? Like, if this becomes a thing when you're only open 2 months out of the year and people can't get tickets to the event, what do you do about that? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not crazy about people being excluded from one of the most beautiful places in all the world.
See, we didn't think it was going to be like that either. Like, one of our friends, it was during the weekend. God, who played? I know that Miami Louisville played. I don't remember who Kentucky played that day. But it was during the games and stuff, so everybody was watching all the football games, so we couldn't leave them. But they were like, hey, later on in the day, we might go to Keeneland. They're doing some, like, races at night or whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. That sounds fine. After the games, we all get together and met up at a bar, went to go buy them. It was like literally an hour later after the conversation when they sent me screenshots of the tickets they purchased. And there was, like, the cheapest ticket was like $120, and it was a resale ticket.
Interesting. I don't know Keeneland. I didn't know Keeneland ever did night racing before.
I guess so, because we were at, this was right around like 5 or 6 o'clock. It might have been races for the next day. I could be having it wrong. It was probably races for the next day.
Gotcha. Well, maybe that could have been potentially it. You got to get there at some point. Try to get. I mean, it is. I haven't been in probably 2 or 3 years, which is entirely too long. But it is a special place. It is the coolest place that I've ever watched horse racing. Now I haven't been to the racetracks out west, but in terms of the places I have been, which again, not many, it is a nicer place to watch horse racing than Churchill Downs. I know that can be controversial for some Louisvillians, and I'm Louisvillian through and through, but Keeneland is objectively just a better place to watch horse racing. It's beautiful, it's great, and they're open for business. So that's great news for Kentuckians that are going to be traveling out there this October. It's going to be a little toasty out there today, but not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Okay, so we've got Billy Gillespie's in the news. We're going to preview a good college football slate. What else do we have on the show today? Yep, I think that we're going to talk some more Tyron Stokes, which I think we got into a little bit yesterday, and then whatever you all have for us, we'll be sure to get to on today's show. I absolutely hate that my Green Bay Packers are on a bye week this week.
Aren't there like 5 teams on a bye this week or something like that?
Yeah, and it seems a little early in the season, right? For a bye week.
Literally half of my fantasy team is on bye this week. Like I got like random dudes. I'm projected like 20% chance to win this week because I just got random dudes in the waiver wire on my team.
Well, did you watch the game last night? What was on producer Matt's TV last night?
I was watching the game.
Baseball games or NFL games?
The NFL game.
I
was watching the NFL game.
Okay.
Like I told you, I'm more of a recent baseball fan, and so for me, like I never liked baseball growing up, and I'm one of those people that I have to have a team to root for, to watch, to like get into the sport, and then once I'm into it, I can kind of watch anything. I'm still at that point with baseball right now. So like the Reds are out of it now, and I've followed them all year. So like I'll watch some of the playoffs, but like if football's on, I'm still gonna watch football.
The 49ers being 4-1 with all the injuries they have is truly unbelievable. And I do not like the 49ers because they always beat the Green Bay Packers, but lose. What are y'all doing? And it's not like the Rams are a bad team by any stretch of the imagination, and 49ers jump all over them right off the jump. Rams do come back. and that game eventually goes to overtime because of a missed PAT there by the Rams. Well, that may have impacted, may have not impacted. But anytime you go to overtime and you had a missed PAT just shortly before, you think of that, and it goes to overtime, and the 49ers do get the win. I was watching a little bit more baseball, but was flipping back and forth, and then unfortunately couldn't stay up for the end of the game. Luckily for me, I'm going against Christian McCaffrey in one of my fantasy leagues.
Yeah, lucky for you.
He put up a cool 30 points, which is just a devastating way to start the week. But the good news was, producer Matt, I started the Rams defense, who gave me 1 point. So,
ooh, okay.
Yep. So going into the Sunday slate in a nice 29-point hole, that is the absolute worst in fantasy. And I know people don't care to hear about fantasy teams and stuff like that. But when your opponent has a big Thursday and you just feel like the week is already over at that point, that's the worst feeling.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm currently feeling
Because you're just sitting there trying to climb a mountain on, Sunday and Monday, and good luck.
But you need like 5 of your opponent's players to have below averages or terrible weeks, and you're like, well, I just know that's not going to happen.
I was literally like 4 inches from Kyron Williams having like a legacy game because I have him on both my fantasy teams, and he had 2 touchdowns and like over 100 yards already, and then he was going for the game-winning touchdown and literally fumbled like at the 3-inch line. So still had a good game, but gasped audibly at what could have been.
Could have been, yeah. That would have.
I would have put the other guy I was playing in that situation.
Yeah, which is that's a great spot to be in, where you're on the flip side and you don't feel like you have to really worry about your week so much because your guys on Thursday just dominated. But Thursday Night Football was a good game last night. I was not expecting it to be a good game, but it was. Goes to overtime, and we'll probably talk a little bit more NFL. But Mac Jones, I did not expect to see him go out there and throw the ball nearly 50 times, 49 passes from the one-time UK commit, 33 completions, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns. A near-perfect game from Mac Jones in a spot. His wide receivers, Kendrick Bourne, Jake Tonjes, Demarcus Robinson, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, like that is the worst receiving core that you're going to find in the NFL right now. And I'm an MVS guy, former Packers days. He was always underwhelming, unfortunately, but I liked MVS. But that is the worst. You could potentially, Ohio State's wide receiver room could potentially be better than that. I say that a little in jest, but
look,
little in jest.
As a Patriots fan, I was a big Mac Jones.
Yeah, you got to feel. How do you feel about Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne just dominant?
My friend is a 49ers fan, and as soon as the moment they picked up Kendrick Bourne, it made me sick to my stomach knowing he's gonna throw to Kendrick Bourne again this season because I loved Kendrick Bourne. I was always a Mac Jones defender. The dude had 3 different offensive coordinators in his 3 years of NFL football, and one of them was Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia's a defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick was just trying stuff out there. He was like, my career's over. I'm just going to put whoever I want on staff. And then it upset me.
I need to find me a nice young girl. Today.
Exactly. It upset me when people came at Mac Jones as the problem. I was like, the dude's a Pro Bowler. And last night he showed that, when you have a coach that actually knows how to play offense in the NFL and Kyle Shanahan, Mac Jones is pretty good. So is Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, with that wide receiving core, I always thought Mac Jones would be have a chance to make it in the NFL. Obviously, the way things went down in New England made me think that I was probably going to be wrong about that take. But here he is, year 5, and while it's a backup role, he's going to get some calls after this season. I can guarantee you that. What he's doing right now is probably extending his lifespan in the NFL an additional 5 years, potentially, even longer than that. All right, you can just be a journeyman veteran that if you do need to come in, we can trust you. But he'll get another starting spot somewhere. But doing great things. Even with 3-0 as the starting quarterback. Granted, 2 of those wins were against New Orleans and Arizona, but nobody's going to bat an eye beating the Rams in L.A., although it's more San Francisco fans there. If you're a 49er fan, you probably like playing the Rams in L.A. more than you like playing them at home.
Rams and Chargers fans just don't exist.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right?
Do you remember that joke from last season? There was that one lady who they kept showing during the Chargers game, and she was super excited. And people were like, This is definitely a government plant.
It was. Didn't they end up finding out that she has like been in NFL videos and stuff like that? That
she was
it
in
was
like
it was the Asian woman, right?
Yeah,
the older Asian woman.
Even this year, she was in like an NFL promo or something like that, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then you sometimes hear about like crisis actors and stuff when there's like a tragedy and things along those lines, and it's like, what is going on with all that stuff? Why is that one Asian NFL fan in like 30 NFL videos? How does that happen? Why is she always in these amazing seats? Really makes you wonder.
They got to get people into SoFi somehow.
They do. If you were a St. Louis Rams or a San Diego Chargers fan, would you have stuck with them to the move to LA, or would that have been a good reset for you?
No.
I think it depends where you live. Like if you lived in San Diego and they took the team away from you, I'd probably be a little pissy about it. If I lived in St. Louis and they took my NFL team away from us, I would be, I think, a little bitter about it. But if I lived in Louisville and I was a Chargers fan, which I do know one, and they moved from San Diego to L.A., why would you give a crap about that in the slightest? You wouldn't. If you were a Louisville fan or a St. Louis fan living in Louisville and they moved, I don't think you'd really care so much about that necessarily.
The only one that like really bothers me
I think we need more teams in L.A., actually.
Oh, yeah, we definitely do.
What's two more?
They have too few teams per capita than what we need.
Mm-hmm.
I need a Fresno team.
Let's get two in Anaheim.
Exactly. For me, it's the Oakland Raiders getting moved to Las Vegas. That is just the biggest money-grubbing crap I've ever seen.
Okay, all right. I want you to expand on that take. However, do you really think that it was fair that San Francisco and Oakland, literally across the bridge from each other, both had NFL, NBA, well, not NBA, but MLB, NFL, and one NBA team?
I don't, but at the same time, I look at the Jets and the Giants.
No, I agree.
Two of the most historic football teams in the NFL, and they literally share a stadium.
Yeah.
And they have forever, which MetLife Stadium is, that's just injury-prone century. Like that place has taken more ACLs than wins in their franchise histories.
And it's not even in the state of which they're named.
No, it's not.
Which is always throws me for a little bit of a loop.
But, if you're an Oakland fan, that would make, one, you have the A's, who are just terrible, that are moving to Las Vegas as well, who the A's were better this year. But then you bring the Raiders over as well. You just gut Oakland entirely, just for the fact of now, which the Oakland Raiders fans were some of the most passionate fans in football. Now it's just millionaires and billionaires showing out to Raiders games. It's just like, oh, guys, weekend to Las Vegas. Let's go watch a Raiders game. We watched the Raiders play the Saints this weekend, and then it's just random people and then billionaires.
If you were very, very rich and you owned a team, would you rather that team be located in Oakland, California, or Las Vegas?
Oh, Las Vegas.
I mean, from a money standpoint, from a financial standpoint, it is just a tough go for Oakland, though. Losing the A's, losing the Raiders.
This is the same argument where every single year when Adam Silver teases that they're going to add another NBA team, everybody's like, Seattle, and I'm like, bro, you already had your shot.
No, they will go to Seattle.
They will.
That is a guarantee. It'll be Seattle and Vegas.
It's going to upset me.
And they'll move the Timberwolves over to the east and maybe the Grizzlies over to the east, and then it'll be Seattle and Vegas that'll get an NBA team.
Vegas 100%. Seattle, I don't want to see it again. I don't really
You had
care. Your shot. Didn't work.
I don't really care one way or another, but I'll just take anything in Louisville. I'll take NFL team, sure. NBA, I used to dream big about the NBA in Louisville. Producer Matt, unfortunately, time has beaten that dream down for me. I hate phrasing it this way, but it unfortunately is true. The only way Louisville's getting an NBA team is a natural disaster in another town. And it has to be like an Oklahoma City kind of situation. Remember, they got the Thunder because of the New Orleans and Hurricane Katrina, so they moved to Oklahoma City, and they did such a good job with it. The NBA was like, all right, we're going to get you an NBA team. Louisville's going to have some strike of luck.
Are you sure? Because they were the Sonics.
Oklahoma City?
Yeah, they were the Supersonics.
Okay, then I'm thinking about that for another team with the...
Because Kevin Durant got drafted by the Sonics and then played for OKC.
Okay, I'm getting some wires crossed on that then. But okay, well maybe when did the Sonics cease operations? Because maybe OKC hosted the New Orleans franchise and it went well, so when the Sonics moved, it was like a natural home for them. When was all this?
I'm looking it up right now.
Hurricane Katrina was 2005, so I can tell you that. But I could be getting some stuff crossed.
They left in 2008, July 2nd.
All right, I think that had something to do with it. Like OKC did such a good job with helping out during Hurricane Katrina that it allowed them to think of Oklahoma City as an NBA.
It was saying that they moved to Oklahoma City from Seattle because the ownership could not secure an ownership of a new arena, which they needed. So the NBA eventually just let them get bought out and moved.
Interesting. Okay. Louisville, they nearly got the Grizzlies. They even did a press conference downtown, producer Matt. It said, "Welcome, Grizzlies, to Louisville." And Tom Jurich was a big reason why Louisville, to this day, does not have an NBA team and almost certainly never will because that ship, unfortunately, has sailed.
The worst part of it for me is every time they do that little, like, every single year in the offseason we see it, it's like these top 10 cities for a new NBA team. Like, the city of Louisville's always, like, third or fourth on there. It's like Seattle, Las Vegas, then Louisville, then like somewhere else. And it's like, just stop showing it to me. It's not happening.
I know. It does.
You're beating a dead horse.
It's like you're the bridesmaid at the end of the rotation. It's like, you're not getting married today.
No, not happening.
Doesn't mean you're getting married next year either, does it? No guarantee you get married the following year either. But you're up on the stage. Your name gets up there. You get to see the pictures.
I would give anything.
Oh, it'd be great. Imagine just like a Tuesday night, like, hey, guys, tickets are like $20. You just want to go down, see Anthony Edwards is in town. Oh, Donovan Mitchell's playing. You want to go check him out? It would be great. But U of L was very, very against it and never was going to happen, unfortunately. But the more things change, the more they stay the same because Billy Gillespie's in the news, and he's been placed on leave.
Kentucky legend.
Leave. Former Kentucky great.
My favorite Kentucky basketball coach of all time.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good pick. A lot of good options. That's Eddie Sutton up there for you, too, I would imagine.
Oh,
Probably
yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, I would think so. We will talk a little Billy Gillespie, preview the Cats and the Dogs down in Athens. We'll get your Allen Electric Power Picks of the week, win you some money for this weekend. We'll talk NFL as well. It's going to be a fun show. And then Tyron Stokes. We'll talk about that also. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Producer Matt Childress and TJ Walker.
Time for doing is here. Guys, I'm tired of people talking down about this football team. Tired about them not giving us the respect that I know that we can deserve. But we have to go out and earn that respect. Every time we come out of the chute, we have to go out there and earn it. You earned some last week. You've earned some this year. You earned some starting off 3-0 at home for the first time in a long, long time around here. So let's go get some more, okay? Let's earn it and keep earning it and keep coming after their snap after snap after snap.
Stanford under center. Going to throw it far side, the fade to Goodman, and intercepted by Roger Williams in the end zone! Offset eye in the backfield. Play fake. Woodson rolling right. Avoids the rush. Throws for the back of the end zone. Touchdown! Kentucky! Cats take the lead! It's Keenan Barton! Not showing blitz. Let's see if they come. They come late. Hand off to Dixon. Up the middle. Touchdown! Kentucky! The Wildcats take the lead with 1:21 to play. Stafford retreats. Plenty of time. Now the protection's breaking down. He slides right. He throws. Intercepted! Trevor Lindley at the Georgia 41-yard line.
Welcome back, Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. That's not the last time Kentucky's beaten Georgia. It's the second to last time Kentucky's beaten Georgia. And what an old school, badass, motivational speech by Rich Brooks in the locker room before that game. And it's just your old school Kentucky locker room. Everything is such a dump at the old facilities with UK. He gives a great rah-rah speech, and the Cats go out there. And how about that? Matt Stafford. There's a familiar name for you, producer Matt. He's still balling out. I wonder, Trevor Lindley is not, unfortunately.
Who's Matthew Stafford?
Who's Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, who's that?
He is an NFL quarterback.
Oh, okay.
Super Bowl winning NFL quarterback.
Yeah, okay. You're right. My fault.
And the one-time loser to the Kentucky Wildcats. Woo! But that was an incredible game. I don't know if that game was on live. At least in my 2006 life, I did not watch it live, but I do remember watching the replay later that evening. What a wild time, how things can change in 19 years. And I did know that Kentucky had won when I watched the replay, but I was so excited to watch. And gonna need some magic. Gonna need more magic than what you had on that fall day back in 2006. This is KRC on the Big X. Our producer is producer Matt Childress. I'm TJ Walker. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, the Gameday Men's Health text line is the best way to do that. Gameday Men's Health is redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Defining a new era in men's health. We're giving away a Gameday Men's Health t-shirt today. It's somebody on the Gameday Men's Health text line. All you got to do is text in, and if we see your number on there after the show, if you get a text back, you'll get a Gameday Men's Health t-shirt. And we're going to start giving away some Kentucky Roll Call t-shirts next week. Do that more frequently. Give stuff back out to the listeners, which we're excited about. Let's read a couple texts into the show here just to get things started. A texter says, listening at the airport, roll call. Well, good. Thanks for listening. If it would have been a week ago, you may have ran into me if we had been at the same airports, potentially. Producer Matt, I don't think I mentioned it on radio. Do you fly much? What's your thoughts on flying?
I love flying. I think it's fun. I think it's relaxing. It's a nice little, like, when you walk into the airport, like when you get through security, you go through the terminal, it's like I'm like going somewhere. You know what I mean? Whereas like when you get in the car, it's just boring.
Yeah.
But like I haven't flown in a while, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I hadn't flown in a while either. I don't know. I get like a little nervous in planes just from the helplessness of it all, that if something were to go wrong, there's just nothing that you can do. But more of life's things are like that if you actually break it down and think about it. Like if a car swerves into another lane, there's really not much I can do, even though I think that I may be able to. But realistically, if something bad is meant to happen, it's probably going to happen. But I don't need to take any sort of drugs or anything to be on an airplane or any Xanax or anything like that. But I will get like a little tiny bit nervous at takeoff and a little tiny bit nervous when you land. But I also like flying. There is a fun feel of just like, all right, I can't do anything. Like, it's all out of my control. I just need to be at this gate at this time and then get on the plane and then get off the plane. And it's just kind of nice not having to worry about work or chasing around somebody or anything like that.
So you don't have that like male fantasy where it's like, if this is going down, I'm taking it. I'm taking care of it.
Oh, heavens,
I got this flight.
Heavens no. What if they and I'm confident, like I'm a confident person overall. If they came to me and they were like, nobody else can land this bird but you. It's like, all right, I'll give it my all. I'm not going to feel overly confident that I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm also not going to just wave the white flag and fly it into the side of a cliff or anything like that. I'd give it my all, but I do think that there's like enough cruise control that like hopefully be able to land itself.
That was gonna be my question.
With me like just maybe having to push a button here or there.
If they like called you up there and you were like, okay, I gotta lock in, I gotta do this. You know, you put the headset on, the tower's talking to you, you're like, I'm locked in. They're like, hey, you just push that button for me over there. All right, you're good, man. Go sit down. Does that disappoint you? You're like, oh, I was built up for this. Like,
no, because all that people are gonna know at the end of the day is random dude on plane helps land plane safely, hundreds saved. And they're not going to know what was said in the dispatch. They're not going to get the black box.
I wish they would. They released a black box. It's just TJ up there. Like, so how do you feel about Mark Stoops? You know, his $38 million contract. You think we're going to buy out of him? Or, and he's like,
I just go over the PA and just start doing the show. I try a stand-up bit. I have no idea how to land this thing, but we're going to be entertained before we die. Or at least not entertained and annoyed. Either way, you're going to feel something. Oh, I also had a major mishap at the airport last week, producer Matt. This was terrible. So, Louisville Airport, I feel like it's hit or miss on security. Sometimes you'll see security where it's like, oh boy, I'm glad I got here 2 hours early because this is going to chew up one of them. And then other times you get there and it's just like, walk on up. It's like the airport was specifically open for you. This was one of those rare times it was kind of an in-between. Wasn't super packed. I was happy with what I saw, but there was a line. It was going to take, I think it ended up taking like 10 minutes or something like that. So no big deal. And I, on one of my bags that I carry around with me, I do keep a firearm on me, producer Matt.
Oh.
People would be shocked how many people do, for what it's worth. I practice all the safety procedures and protocols. I never use it. I don't even really shoot it for fun, but just crazy world out there.
Yeah.
And we're getting we parked at the airport. We're getting out of the car. I tell the wife, I'm like, oh, crap, I forgot to leave this at home, but I've got my firearm on me. We need to put this in the glove box. So we do. Lock it, safe and all that good stuff. And walk into the airport. We're just doing carry-on, which is great, by the way, just to not have to wait to not have to do.
I'm a big carry-on guy.
Just doing carry-on is so convenient in like 4 or 5 different areas. You don't have to deal with it before the flight. You don't have to worry about it while you're in the air. You don't have to do the carousel and wait forever. Certainly the worst case scenario is them losing your bag, which you don't have to worry about when you do carry-on. And we're getting up there near the front of security, and I think to myself, crap, Hannah, I've got my clip in my bag still. So the clip like in one container, again, practice firearm safety, and then the firearm was in another. I did remember to take the firearm out, but the clip filled with bullets is still very much in my bag, which that would be awkward to go underneath the little radar thing. What's it called? The X-ray? It's not an X-ray scanner, but whatever the little...
Metal detector?
Metal detector, but the thing that they can look through your bag.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Why can't I think of what that's called?
It's like the full body one you have to like stand in or...
Well, no, I'm specifically talking about the things your bags go through.
Oh, okay.
Like where they look through your carry-on, and it's like X-ray and they can see everything in it. So I just have this fear they're looking through the X-ray thing for carry-on, and they're like, oh, well, that maniac right there just has a clip with bullets in it. Like, that's a red flag. So I'm a little panicked because... this is all just original when I purchased the firearm about 10 years ago. All of it is. I've never bought new parts for it. I've never really done anything with it besides fire it a few times here and there. I am panicking because if I get rid of this, like I certainly can go buy another one. That's not going to be a huge deal. But am I going to go buy another one? Am I going to take the time to actually go do that? And then I think, well, maybe I can get away with just having it. You know, this by itself can't hurt anybody. Like, this by itself is not going to do anything to anyone. A pencil could be more dangerous. I look it up. You absolutely cannot bring any parts of guns with you on carry-on. None.
Wow, surprising.
Does kind of make sense, because what if one person brought this one and one person brought that one, and you just said, well, I can't do anything with this one.
You're just building a whole AK in the back of the plane?
Yeah, exactly. So they say that you absolutely cannot do it. So, Producer Matt, I don't have time to go back to the car. The line has gotten much longer since I've been waiting in this short little 10-minute one. I don't have time to go run it back to the car. Options are limited. What does Producer Matt do here?
I mean, I guess you either throw it away somewhere or turn it in.
Really, that seems like, or I guess the third option is just roll the dice.
Oh, yeah, just go with it.
Just try to walk through with it and
take your no-fly list chances.
And maybe they end up not even noticing it.
Then I think that would terrify me more on the flight.
I thought about that too. I was like, if I actually do get through with this, though, that's a lifelong trauma.
You're like,
just like, hey, I one time came through with a clip and bullets.
Like, I'm a rookie at this. Somebody who actually tried.
I did it accidentally. So I initially was like, I'm just going to tell them. I accidentally have this. What can we do about it? I don't want to lose it. I don't want to throw it away. And then I thought about it. I was like, that's just bringing on more attention, more questions. So I did just drop it in the trash. And even that was kind of awkward because everybody's like just around you, looking at you.
You're doing the like side-to-side look.
And it wasn't like quiet. And then there was a part of me that I was like, well, maybe I can just empty the bullets out and then just keep the clip because I have more bullets at home. I know that. But the clip, this is important to me. Like, I need that. This is an integral part of the operation. But I just threw it all out like a frickin' dweeb. Such a dumb mistake to have that in my bag. To take the one part out and then not take the other. What was I thinking?
Whoever had to like take that trash out.
Yeah. It was actually an entirely new trash bag, and I am embarrassed to admit and shouldn't share it online. I was like, well, we get back Sunday. Like, it's a huge trash can. Maybe
let's go check.
What if you just saw me on Sunday just going through it's at the very bottom.
Just legs sticking out of the top of the trash can.
Very bottom. No, I knew once I dumped it that it was unfortunately gone forever. But very, very dumb mistake on my part. Just like, what's the one thing you probably shouldn't bring on an airplane? Anything involving a gun. But you know what? We've recently done some radio shows at some really, really cool gun places. I bet those places would get me hooked up. So I'll check out those places.
I had a friend who I used to work at UPS for a long time to pay for college. And after I left, he stayed and just kept working there for a little bit longer. And then me and our friend group, who used to all work there together, we have a big group chat or whatever. We were texting each other, and he just texts us at like 1 a.m. He's like, guys, I just got fired. So we're all like, because we all left, right? We all didn't like that place. We were like, why are you still working there? Like, move on. So he got fired. We were all like, LMAO, ha, 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 like, because it was just whatever. You can get another job. It's just UPS. And he goes, it's because I accidentally brought my gun in.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. They didn't like care because he did the same thing.
All right.
He noticed it and he like told them. He was like, hey, I just had my bag with me. I didn't know it was in there. And this and that. And they were like, by policy, I have to let you go.
Seems like he snitched on himself.
Oh, he did.
I would have maybe just tried to roll the dice with it. That would be a pretty terrifying feeling for a second. And then, you know what? I'm not making light of any of this. It just needs to be stated, though. In today's culture, firing a guy who brought a firearm to the office is maybe not the right play.
Yeah, maybe
that's the one that maybe you like. We're gonna bring you into HR and talk for a little while.
Supposed to de-escalate.
Yes, yeah. I don't know if I'd go straight to your ass's can, take that firearm, and get the hell out of here. What are you gonna do about it?
I remember. I think it was like a month or two before that. I had just recently quit, and I walked in. I kept the same backpack with me with like extra clothes, gloves and stuff because I worked outside. I walk in. I had just got back from a week at the lake, or a weekend at the lake. I walk in and I, put my bag through the metal detector, through the X-ray, whatever. And the security there is just not great. I'll just be honest. I get in. I drove one of the little like tug tractors. I move the cans around to the planes. Load the planes with the packages. I get in there, drop my bag. I hear a clank. I'm like, what on earth was that? I open this backpack. There are 6 Mick Ultras in my backpack. Full. I mean, I guess we were drunk and I didn't open all of them up. And I was like, how did I get through? No, not just one, like 6 of these lining my backpack. So I had to do the same thing basically you did. Go to this awkward dumpster outside of a building and tip my backpack upside down and just dump them all out.
How many years ago was this?
Oh, this was like 3 years ago.
See, all right, so you're getting like right around 21-year-old age. I'm a little surprised that story didn't go producer Matt, so I just went and had to chug them real quick.
Oh, just
I wasn't gonna let them go.
Shotgunned them all right before the show.
Because you remember when you're like 18 and 19 and you're around alcohol, like that thing is worth millions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
Like
who knows when I'm gonna get more?
What is it in not Knocked Up? Oh my goodness gracious, Superbad. And Superbad, the gold. What's the alcohol that they get? The golden Schlitz or whatever.
Oh yeah, the golden Schlick or whatever. It's got the gold flakes in it.
And it's that's why I mean that movie is an amazing movie for a million reasons. We bring it up on roll call probably too frequently. But that scene when that bottle smashes and you just see like the gold pieces start to go, that is so relevant to like a 19 or 20 or 21-year-old that is just like, this was a gift and now it's been squandered. That's no good. Another airport story. This one was in 2012, so the statute of limitations is long past on this one. But we did New Year's Eve in Chicago, producer Matt, and then I was going down to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. But like when you're 21 years old, like may as well do fun stuff like that. So my family was down in New Orleans, but my college friends and roommates were going to Chicago, so I wanted to do the best of both the worlds. And so after the UK U of L game, we drove up. UK lost by 3, a rare UK loss in the basketball series. U of L would go on to later win a vacated national championship. Kyle Wiltshire had a chance at 3 to tie that game. I remember it vividly. And then we drove straight up to Chicago afterwards. Had a good time in Chicago, did the New Year's thing in Chicago, and then the next day, New Year's Day, I was flying out to go to New Orleans. And we're 21, so we're dumb. And it's New Year's, so we're like partying and we're celebrating. And I think one of my college roommates had made a pretty healthy batch of fun brownies, the good kind, if you know what I'm saying,
yes.
Producer Matt. And again, going back to like when you're that age, any sort of illegal thing is worth a ton of money to you. So I think that like they were driving back and I was flying out and this was our last day and we had a couple left. So I decided to just swallow one entirely whole right before going to the airport. Like I was in the cab at the airport. I'm like stuffing this thing in my mouth and it was just a ginormous mistake. It went south almost instantly. It was not good. You were talking about those little scan things, and if you're on the YouTube page, you can see me doing it. But, like, where you got to put your arms up like that, and it goes around your whole body. I set off the scan thing because my armpits were so sweaty. It's true. They're like, you got to come with me, sir. So imagine me just high as a kite, walking with airport security, and they're like, we think that you're hiding something under your shirt.
Sir, your must level is way too high for this flight.
They're like, we're getting heat sensors coming off your armpits. It could be a weapon. And here, again, you just have to imagine, like, my state of mind, and I'm just, like, I literally did this. If you see the cameras, here you go. But I lift up my arms, and I'm like, it's just armpit sweat. I'm just really, really sweaty. And I kid you not, Matt, whatever you're thinking of, like, how big these rings went down my arm, times it by 2. It was bigger than that. Like, I was just a sweaty mess. And they laughed at me, and they're like, all right, well, do you care if we put gloves on and touch? And I was like, yes, of course I do. Leave me the hell alone.
Do what you gotta do.
Get me out of here. Whatever you can do to get me out of this situation with TSA, as my eyes were probably redder than you know what. And they let me go, no issues. But I get to, like, my gate. I'm a big proponent. I think a lot of people are like this. Like, I have to see my gate exist. I don't know why. That's just what I do when I get to an airport. I have to see that my gate exists and either put my bags down near there or just like, all right, it's there. The flight's on schedule. Now I can go to a bar, or now I can go get some food, or I can go to the bathroom, whatever I need to do. But I always like to go and check that the gate's there first. So I get to that gate with, like, the intent of going to a bar or just killing time or whatnot. But I got there, producer Matt, and I just couldn't move. Like, I got to a point where I was just like, I don't even trust my legs to be able to work anymore. How am I going to get on this plane? And luckily, I had plenty of time, so it wasn't too much of a concern. But while I was sitting there, heads in hands, just regretting every decision that I'd ever made in my entire life, this was funny, and I'll never forget it. The TV above me at the airport, which they just play like local news or whatever, or I guess in this instance, it was national news. Because I was in Chicago, and they were playing national news, and I guess that this was the day, New Year's Day, where you were allowed to buy marijuana in Colorado. So this national story was talking to all these potheads, and I'm just sitting underneath this TV, head in hands, just not sure if my body's even moving at all. And they're interviewing all these stoners like, yeah, this is the best. We just get to live free and do what we want to do. And I'm like internalizing myself like, no, don't do it, guys. Don't do it.
They're bad influences.
You're going to be miserable. Sure enough, luckily, like an hour later, it had started to tone down a little bit, and I was able to get on the plane, but I don't think I said an entire word for pretty much that entire day. It was a miserable, miserable flying experience. But, yeah, 2012, I guess. When did Louisville go to the Sugar Bowl? 13? Yeah.
13.
So that would make sense. All that lines up on the timeline.
I haven't partaken in said substances in quite some time. But there was one time when I think I was like a freshman in college. Me and my brother rented a house. So, like, all of our friends would come over to our house to, like, drink and stuff and watch the games, stuff like that. Like, our house was the party house. Well, a couple of my friends decided to come over, and my girlfriend was also there at the time. And, they brought over some particular substance.
Sure.
And this was one of the first times I had ever tried it. I was like, I wasn't like against it. I was just never going to go out and purchase it. It wasn't worth it to me. So they were like, hey, come try with us. I was like, sure, why not? We go out to their car, we partake, and we go back inside. These guys talked me into turning on my Nintendo Switch and playing Mario Party.
So all this is checking out.
It was fun. We were having a great time.
Nothing out of the ordinary so far.
We were having a great time. We ordered pizza or whatever. We were having fun. TJ, when was the last time you played Mario Party, if you've ever played it before?
Oh, I'm a big Mario Party player. It was probably like 2 months ago.
Okay. So you know how when you're playing the games, you get to the mini games, right?
Yes.
They have the practice round.
Yeah.
Okay. You already know where I'm going with this.
I think I do.
So it's one of those mini games where they split you up into teams, right? So it's me and one of my friends, and then it was my girlfriend and my other friend who are on a team. We are like cursing at each other, like almost at like wit's end about to fight over this mini game. We're like talking crap, We spent 30 minutes playing this mini game. We were like, why is it not over? And it's because we've been playing the practice round for half an hour.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
And to the point where, like, we were so angry at each other because we were fighting over the game so much, we just turned it off.
And it's just hilarious to think, like, when does it end?
Yeah.
Like, what is the goal of this game? Why are we not finished
That's
yet?
what it was. We stopped fighting, and we're like, when are we done? We have, like, 80,000 points. Like who wins the game? And my brother comes out and is like, you guys are yelling. What's going on? And he's like, you guys are idiots. This is the practice.
Oh, that's good
And
stuff.
I was like, maybe it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, oh boy, just college stoner stories. We could probably do an entire show on them. I was out of town one time, and my roommates couldn't figure out how to turn on the PS3.
Okay.
They left me like 5. I had like 8 missed calls. I had a couple voicemails, but they were like nonsensical voicemails of just like noise in the background. And I was like convinced the house was on fire or something. And I finally get them online, and they were like, yeah, we're trying to watch Requiem for a Dream. We couldn't figure out how to turn your PS3 on. I was like, that was worth 8 calls? Like, what in the world? And then this was during the UK-Texas Tech game. I was the sober driver that night, but we went to a bar, and my buddies had partook before we had gotten there. And this waiter was like, yeah, all right, what would you like with your burger? Do you want waffle fries, steak fries? And my buddy was like, steak fries? What? It's like a mixture of a steak and a fry? Like, whoa, I've got to try the steak fries. And to his disappointment, when just regular French fries came out.
Oh, I remember one time we went to Waffle House. This is just getting into story time.
Yeah, no, like any of these type of stories, if it doesn't include a Waffle House, I would be surprised. I could match you with a Waffle House story too. Let's hear yours.
This one isn't too long. It was after something like that had happened, like my last story. We were like, we're hungry. Let's go to Waffle House. Oh no, it was during a UFC pay-per-view. We left a UFC pay-per-view right before the main event. We were all starving. Drove right down the street to Waffle House. I'm the first one to order, and we walk in, and let me tell you, we are like extremely high, like extremely. It's not even close. We shouldn't have driven there, in all honesty. But we get there, and it's one of those where like it didn't set in until we like really walked in. Like we knew we were high, but then we peaked in there.
Yes, a private high versus a social setting high, they are very different. They are very different.
I'm sitting there, and the lady looks at me, and she goes, "What can I get for you, hun?" I didn't register the words she said for about 3 minutes, so I'm just standing there with this blank look in my face.
Yeah,
but like, you might as well put drool coming out of my mouth. I'm like,
yeah, dead giveaway.
All-star special, please. She's like, "How do you want your eggs?" I was like, "Cooked." I was like, guys, let's go. Somebody grabbed me. I was like, we got to get out of here. We're going to
you all just left?
We just left.
Oh, that's hilarious. We had a similar story at Waffle House where like 3 of us ordered, and then it was finally the 4th person's turn, and he was frozen. Just could not talk.
The pressure got
he kept trying to, and he just would start laughing, and he just could not talk. Yeah, there's so many great stories like that at Waffle House. I love that you all just bailed. It was just like, too embarrassing.
Go to Taco Bell.
We gave it our all, and we failed, so we're out. Sorry about that. Let's throw it. I wanted to talk Billy Gillespie this segment. We are not talking Billy Gillespie.
I forgot about that. That's on me.
No. I did the A-Report story. It opened a can of worms. And, maybe in the spring, a good 420 show, we can revisit some of these stories. But 502-414-1450, that's the text line. A texter says, "Yo, TJ, my wife is pregnant for the first time. Just found out we're having twins. Please help." That's incredible. What a blessing. Good for you. That is so exciting. I would have loved to have twins. Easy for me to say, right? They wouldn't have been inside my body. I wouldn't have been squeezing them out. But twins are incredible. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about babies in hour number 2. This is Kentucky Roll Call with producer Matt and TJ Walker. We will also talk some sports, I think.
It's over until we decide it is.
With Walker and Roush.
We're just getting started, bro.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. If you'd like to be a part of the show, text into the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450, 502-414-1450. And if you haven't had lunch today, or you're thinking about dinner plans, or what to bring out to Cardinal Stadium tomorrow, or if you're watching the Cats and the Bulldogs, Salsaritas Catering, or Salsaritas for lunch, or Salsaritas for dinner. Just get you some Salsaritas, wildly addictive chips, quesadillas, burritos. It is all so good. St. Matthew's covered patio would be a great day to sit outside. They are in Middletown. They've got a drive-through out there, and then they're in Bullitt County, right off I-65 in Shepherdsville. Those 3 locations will take care of you with a smile, great service, delicious food, fresh, and you will not be disappointed with our friends at Salsaritas. I am disappointed in Billy Gillespie, though, producer Matt.
Yes?
I'm not disappointed with Salsaritas, but I am disappointed with Billy Gillespie because he's done it again. He's in trouble again. According to Pete Thamel, sources have told him that Billy Gillespie has been placed on temporary administrative leave as the university's system investigates a complaint. Associate head coach Glenn Cyprian, I've never knew how to say that guy's name, and it was before my time in media, so I'm grandfathered into to getting his name wrong. But he was with Gillespie at UK, and he is now going to be taking over as the acting head coach. What do we think that Billy Gillespie, what do we think this complaint is? And then secondly, I had ChatGPT come up with the top 5 Billy Gillespie scandals. What do you think the complaint is, producer Matt? How familiar are you with Billy Gillespie to begin with? Because when he was coaching UK, you were like 7 years old, 8 years old. But what complaint could it be? So tough to figure out with Billy Gillespie.
I went and read some of the articles about it, and all the ones that I saw said that they didn't officially release what they were, obviously, so people were just kind of speculating.
Yes.
And it seems like a lot of people believe that it's mistreatment of his players again, which I think was the same thing when he was at Texas A&M?
Well, he was at Texas A&M, then Kentucky, then Texas Tech. People forget about the Texas Tech.
Texas Tech is what I'm thinking.
It didn't go great, unfortunately, for him at Texas Tech. Yeah, didn't Tubby Smith coach at Texas Tech, too?
Yeah, I think so.
So we know where Cal's next stop's going to be after the Arkansas run. They got plenty of money at Texas Tech. I could see Cal enjoying it down there. We don't know what he did. You're right. I also looked. I'll tell you what, the extent of my show prep today was finding people from Stevensonville, Texas, that could potentially come on and talk about the Billy Gillespie era at Tarleton State. And unfortunately unsuccessful. There are very few media members that cover sports in that town.
That blows my mind.
It's not even that small of a town. It's not. I mean, it's not. But and then I looked into people in Dallas, Fort Worth, and then Waco, and just no luck, unfortunately, to have an expert on to talk about Billy Gillespie's time at Tarleton State. But this complaint, I have no doubt it's about player treatment. I mean, I'm obviously guessing, but it's a very educated guess because that's always been this dude's issue. This is a 1940s basketball coach that has been transplanted to the 21st century, and it's never worked for him, unfortunately. At A&M, it was working, but I guarantee you there would have been a fallout there. At Kentucky, nope. I just wonder if he would have won more, how long he could have gotten away with it at UK. I think that's a fair question. Texas Tech, it blew up in his face. He went to Ranger Junior College, where I guess it worked, but can you imagine that dude coaching junior college people? He's telling somebody to run. If you want to make it on this team, you run. Dude, I'm in JUCO. Shut up.
Imagine Last Chance U with Billy Gillespie as the coach.
Oh, my. Producer Matt, print the money, baby.
That would be so good.
That would be incredible. I'd be all for that. I'd watch every episode probably twice. So ChatGPT put together a list of his biggest scandals. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
I'm a little impressed by number one. I did not think that this was going to be number one according to this is actually Grok. I think I said ChatGPT. This is Grok. Number one, player mistreatment, his biggest scandals. Number one, player mistreatment at Texas Tech. Gillespie faced widespread allegations of verbal abuse, forcing injured players to endure grueling practices and exceeding NCAA limits on practices. Specific incidents included making players run arena steps despite stress fractures in both legs. I mean, that is pretty tough to go to your guy that has 2 broken legs and saying, see those stairs over there? I think I need you in a little bit better shape.
Rub some dirt on it, big fella.
Broken leg boy. You don't have a third broken leg, do you? Just Winion Gabriel. They go on to say he required another player to dunk repeatedly the day after he sliced his hand open. This led to a mass exodus with 15 players transferring out and over 30 program staff leaving during his 18-month tenure.
He was just trying to toughen the guys up.
I love that, like, you know what? There were rumors about me being too big of a you-know-what at UK. I'm doubling down. You all thought I was mean at Kentucky? You don't know Mean Billy G. I'll show you Mean Billy G. I'd forgotten about that. I did remember forcing the player to keep dunking. I did remember that. I didn't realize it was such a big mass exodus, but obviously Texas Tech ultimately moved on from Billy Clyde Gillespie. Number 2, according to Grok, abrasive treatment of players at Kentucky. Woo, go Cats, baby. Reports detailed extreme disciplinary tactics such as locking center Josh Harrelson in the bathroom stall at a halftime during a Vanderbilt game and forcing him to ride the equipment bus home. Gillespie also allegedly kicked star Jody Meeks off the team at halftime of a 2019 NIT game and pressured injured forward Derek Jasper to return prematurely from microfracture surgery by mocking his limitations. Jasper Johnson ended up going and working for Billy Gillespie. People forget that. I thought Jasper Johnson, he was never Kentucky caliber, but he always seemed like a good guy to me. And injuries didn't help him out whatsoever. How do they, producer Matt, I know you're not a UK guy. How do they leave off making Perry Stevenson eat Pop-Tarts in a bathroom stall? And also, what is his affinity with bathroom stalls? Those are only for pooping.
My question is, what's the affinity for Pop-Tarts?
Well, because Perry Stevenson was incredibly skinny, so he was trying to bulk him up.
Oh, okay.
His nickname was Perry Bones Stevenson. Flex them bones on him, Perry.
I actually met Perry Stevenson.
Not all overly surprising, but good dude.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Got a signed basketball from him.
Good dude, good.
But
is he still coaching, Perry?
I think so.
He was doing some coaching. Hopefully he is.
But no, I don't understand. Like at this point, are we like this is like the weird fetish level? Like there's something he's getting out of this that we haven't really discussed.
Nope,
yet.
just molding young men. Just shaping them up.
Men.
You got to be tough. All right. Back in the old days, this was just called an easy practice, producer Matt. Number 3. Well, we stay in Lexington, folks. Firing from Kentucky in breach of contract lawsuit after a dismissal after the 09 season. 22-14 record, NIT third-round exit, the most losses in 60 years at the program. Oh, okay. Thanks for throwing that part in, Grok. Gillespie was fired, prompting him to sue the university for $6 million over contract disputes. The case settled for $3 million, but it damaged his reputation amid fan backlash for failing to meet expectations.
Yep.
All right, Grok, let me stop you there a little bit.
That lawsuit's what really tarnished his reputation.
Yeah. UK fans were like, all right, let's just all go our separate ways. It didn't work out here, okay? He's suing us. Yeah. That's not how it went down. And also, Grok, you got to throw in Alan Cutler, former coworker of mine, Alan Cutler chasing him. One of the most insane videos you're ever going to see, and one of the rare times that Billy Gillespie wasn't in the wrong. Alan Cutler was in the wrong for how he handled that situation. But that I've forgotten about the contract. Producer Matt, Billy Gillespie at UK never actually signed a contract. There were rumors about what he did or didn't sign. I forget what the name for it was. What was it, like a referendum of agreement or something? Like an understanding. And there was talks that like he signed a napkin when he accepted the job, just to be like, just to show you I'm in or something like that. So they ended up settling. I wish Mark Stoops' buyout was $6 million over a contract dispute. That would make it a little bit easier. Number 4, alleged chronic alcohol issues and DUI arrest. Gillespie has long been rumored to struggle with heavy drinking, which reportedly led to part of his firing. 5 months after his Kentucky dismissal, he was arrested for DUI in Texas, fueling narratives of personal demons contributing to his professional downfall. And then his sudden hospitalization in 2012 amid escalating player complaints. Gillespie was hospitalized for high blood pressure at the Mayo Clinic and advised to avoid stress for 30 days. He resigned shortly after, officially citing health reasons, but the timing tied directly to the mistreatment allegations surfaced that week. Okay, so he resigned from it. But Billy Gillespie, interesting character, in more trouble at Tarleton State. Probably going to be the end of Billy Gillespie. I don't think we'll see him pop up somewhere else. But I always wanted him back in Lexington. Not to like be booed or not to like for people to be mean at him or anything like that. And not even for him to be welcomed back with open arms. I don't even want that necessarily. I don't care. But I wanted him to play UK and just to see how the chips fell. See how he acted, see how Kentucky fans acted, just to see how it all played out. And had he been at Texas Tech long enough, it would have happened. And you never know if he would have gotten Tarleton to the tournament. I guess it's not impossible that it could have happened. But Billy Gillespie, there is some sadness to his story, and there's obviously some personal demons, as Grok said. However, he just never really could learn his lesson to chill out a little bit. Just to chill out a little bit. 12-20 season at Tarleton, but had been pretty solid up until a mediocre season last year. That dude's only coached one Sweet 16 game and has never coached a round further. He's pretty overrated, all things considered. Well, maybe properly rated as a mediocre and bad coach. Okay, moving on from Billy Gillespie there. Let's read a couple texts into the show. Scooter Dingus texts in. He says, fantastic story day on Roll Call. Got to be honest, TJ, would have never put you down as being a gun guy. Not sure what to make of that. All the same, I'm not really a gun guy. I just own a gun. I'm not like a gun nut necessarily. Nothing against it. If I had more property and like lived out on a farm and stuff like that, I probably would shoot just for fun. When we were out at Next Level Ranges and Dugan nearly broke the entire machine because he didn't know how to shoot an assault rifle. That does get the testosterone pumping, producer Matt, shooting a firearm.
Yeah.
Are you a gun guy?
I've only shot a gun like once in my life. So I was like maybe like 9.
Well, I just thought that if you were born in Bullitt County, that was like before you turned 6, you had to do that.
Oh well, it comes out with you. Like it's like a birthing gift, and then like when you reach of age, they send you out into the woods, kind of like on a vision quest, and then you just come back with enough venison for the winter.
And you're totally trained and understand
ready to go
for the rest of your life.
You have your taxes filled out. You're
all right. I thought
that
was the case in Bullitt County, but I'm glad that you specified. I figured as much. No, that was pretty embarrassing though, just not to double check my bag before going through the airport. That was a big mistake. The other texter about their wife being pregnant with twins for the first time. This is hard to do, but you really, I tell this to anybody that's having their first kids. You have to really enjoy your time with your wife because it's never going to be the same once those kids enter the world. And it's already not the same, really. Like you've already, like the time of just you and your wife have unfortunately already passed. However, this is still this is a moment that you never get back. So do a lot of fun stuff with her. Enjoy it. She'll be miserable, but just be a good husband and help her out where you can. But twins, that's so exciting. That's awesome. You get to do it all at the same time. It's going to be really hard, but you'll get through it because that's what people do. Another texter says, imagine the poor dude next to the machine if they put that bag in a trash compactor and the primer of one of the bullets was struck. Yikes. LOL. No, let's just not think about that, actually. Let's not worry about that. And from a legal standpoint, this could just be a made-up story. We can't say for certain.
Yeah, there's no proof. The last hour also wasn't the good decisions hour either.
No, it wasn't. It's a Friday. I don't think people were expecting the good decisions hour. Do we expect Mark Stoops to make good decisions tomorrow? Noon, UK, Georgia, in between the hedges. Been a good bit since Kentucky's won down there. The line keeps coming Kentucky's direction for what it's worth, which is nothing. But what was once a 23-point spread, 19.5 at Sanford Stadium. I hate how I feel about this game, and I wish I could lie to you all, our radio audience, and try to at least get a little bit of hype or, something to watch here, something to watch there. If that were to happen, that could be good. But this is a Georgia team that's coming off a home loss, which is something they don't do all that frequently. And they need to start winning. Their margins need to start looking impressive. A home loss to Alabama, which there's really no shame in losing to Alabama, but Georgia's never going to be okay losing any home games, and that's totally understandable. We can relate at Rupp Arena. But you got plenty of other chances for big wins. Let's see, Georgia's got 1, 2, okay, really only 3 ranked opponents left on the schedule. That's shocking. 2 of them are top 10, so that helps. But you need to start making your numbers look a little bit better. And I do worry, Kirby's never one to want to run it up on Mark Stoops. But this is going to be the interesting, something's got to give. Because Georgia needs to win comfortably. But Kentucky can't afford another blowout. Fans are already checking out. A 35-point loss to Georgia ain't going to have them check in. But what I am anxious to see, and we'll be doing the postgame show over at ESPN 680 afterwards, right around 3:30. Be an interesting postgame show, producer Matt. If it goes the way that unfortunately I think it may go, I don't know how many callers we'll have. That being said, there is a storyline, I'm using air quotes around it. There is something that I want to watch in the game tomorrow. And it's pretty simplistic, really. Has this UK team quit? Has this Kentucky team, which is last place in the SEC, have they given up before October started? And you may say, well, it's October now. But if they don't show any fight on Saturday, then that would mean that they didn't have any fight come October. Did Mark Stoops potentially lose his team before October? That is what I want to see, and it will be told. We'll be able to know. A loss is a loss, but they're not all the same. If Kentucky quits and you've got players out there that are doing the stuff that they did last year, and it's clear that they're just not into it and they don't really fear repercussion from the coaching staff, despite their terrible attitudes or their half-ass effort or whatever it may be, it's going to get really ugly. And again, a loss is a loss, so I'm not saying, oh, go get you a moral victory, Stoopsy.
No, that's the Notre Dame aspect.
The moral victories?
Yes, the moral victories.
I'm not a moral victory guy. However, I don't think Kentucky gets a real victory, so maybe I'm more of a moral victory guy than I care to admit. But I just want to see if this team is quit or not quit. And I think if Kentucky covers the spread, and again, you can't always just play the numbers game. You got to watch and see how it all unfolds. But I think if Kentucky covers the spread, and this is a competitive game, not just a rollover, get your belly rubbed, and ass kicking, then okay, I don't have much hope for the future of UK, but that's good that you haven't quit. That's good that your players are still bought in. That may equate to more UK fans keeping up with the season. But if it looks like it did when the bottom fell out against South Carolina in that second quarter, and then it was just woof, or something worse than that, if you lost your football team before the second month of the football season, that's what I'm watching. I have no expectation of Cutter Bully going down there and dominating. I really wouldn't even know what UK's game plan would be, which is probably going to be to try to run the ball against Georgia's front seven, which I don't feel so good about that. But I do want to see if they have any fight left in them, or if they've gone the way of the fan base and just basically have given up. And if they have, Barnhart, you gotta figure out how to make some good feelings within the football program, and I think there's only one way to do that. But I think it's probably going to be trying to rush the ball against Georgia and control the clock, limit possessions like they always do. But Georgia will be doing more of the same. They're going to be trying to run it all over Kentucky, and we'll see if they have success doing that. But I think that line's probably pretty accurate. Again, it's just you're weighing basically two things. The history of the UK-Georgia series, where Kirby doesn't want to beat up on Stoops, or is this the year that Georgia just needs to run up the score? And hopefully Kentucky has something to say about all of it. And I would love nothing more, Producer Matt, than to come in on Monday and just have a full course meal of crow. That would be delicious. But I hate the current state of the UK football program where you're going into a weekend just not caring all that much because you don't have any sense of optimism. And that was what Mark Stoops was so good at. Just giving you a feeling of, hey, yeah, we're playing a ranked team. Yeah, it's on the road, but I think we got a chance. And in some of those instances, UK won the games. And in most of them, it was at least competitive. And yeah, in some of them, it'd be a blowout. Stoops has had some blowouts. But more Saturdays than not, you felt you were excited. You wanted to see the game. You made plans. You were, maybe this night will end great. Maybe it won't end so great. We have to get back to that. That is the bare minimum of being excited for a college football Saturday, and Stoops has taken that out of us by October. Hopefully there's some surprises in store. And the beauty for Stoops, that if you can figure it out, if you can get it right, Bush Hamden, if you can be really methodical, any win left on the schedule outside of the Tennessee Tech one will be impressive. If you beat Georgia, obviously that'll be impressive. I'm not banking on it. If you beat Texas or Tennessee at home, that'll be great for the fans. If you win at Auburn, if you beat Florida at home, even though Florida stinks, always fun beating the Gators. Vandy is a near top 15 football team, legitimately. And then, of course, Louisville's still undefeated, and that's a big rivalry game. So if you can get any of them, that will be great. I'm not so sure that they can. And secondly, if we see the white flag tomorrow, I will have zero confidence in them. I'm pretty next to zero confidence as is, but if tomorrow's a funeral, then we need to have Mark Stoops' wake in December. All right, let's, and of course that's in a football aspect. I hope Mark Stoops lives to be 150 years old. He is the beacon of health. I'm sure he'll probably do those things. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Let's read maybe one or two more texts here. Georgia hasn't covered 20-point spread in their last 16 attempts. UK should cover the spread. If they don't, things may be worse than they appear. And I cannot stand that that's my storyline going into the game. Has UK quit and they'll be blown out, or do they still have some fight in them and they may cover 20-point spread? This is not a good spot for the Kentucky football program to be in. Are you going to lose by 40, or are you going to cover 20? Don't like it.
Good teams win, great teams cover.
Georgia beat Austin Peay by 20. I mean, surely to God the Cats are closer than that. Yeah, you'd hope. I mean, Georgia really hasn't been overly impressive. They took care of business against Marshall in the opener, but who cares about that? That was an incredibly ugly game where Austin Peay was legitimately in that game. They were lucky to win against Tennessee, but that was on the road at Tennessee, and it went to overtime. And how much can you say like you're lucky to win at Neyland? That's still, it's still a good win. But it's not like they were total world beaters in that one, but it was a great win for Georgia. And then they come at home and they lose to Alabama. Which Tennessee and Alabama are both better teams than Kentucky. And then you add in the factor of Georgia being ticked off about losing and needing some style points. So I know that Georgia doesn't have a long history of covering, but I do worry that tomorrow could be a little different. Thanks for the text into the Game Day Men's Health text line. We love our texters on the Game Day Men's Health text line. John here, I was glad to see my Yankees move on. Cam Schlittler did his thing for sure. He was incredibly impressive. He really was. And to be 24 in New York City and doing that's a high that he will not be able to replicate. I like the Georgia money line and the over in the game. Okay, the Georgia money line. What's that gonna pay?
That's just a donation. I think they might take money out of your pocket if you pick that.
You bet $100 to win $1 maybe. But you know what? Money's money, right, producer Matt?
I feel like that's the one where if you turn the ticket in, like in person, they actually just like call security over and they're like, "This is the guy."
If I put my money where my mouth is, why don't I put $50,000 on Georgia money line? Right?
Win about $1,000,
$3,000.
About 75% of that.
$1,000 I didn't have before then. Taxes. You don't have to pay them. John goes on to say, I like the Georgia money line and the over in the game. It would be awesome to see our Cats win, but I'm pretty sure that is not happening. I like my Chiefs by 7 this weekend. Hey, with so many teams on buys, tell me some good betting tips this weekend. We'll got to go talk to you later. Well, guess what? Our Allen Electric's Picks of the Week segment is coming up very soon. Who do the Chiefs have this weekend? The Jaguars on Monday night.
That'll actually be a good game.
Ball, baby. Liam Cohen. I'll be rooting for the Jags bigly in that one, Mr. John. We'll make some picks for you, NFL, college football, and win you some money in this final segment to wrap up the week. The first Roush-less week of Kentucky Roll Call. We missed the big earless guy. One final segment, KRC, coming up next on the Big X. TJ Walker and producer Matt Childers.
Chevy Etienne, the running back.
All right, my bad. I sent you the wrong part. That's just some highlights from last year. I thought it was the cue up to win. UK eventually was at midfield in the fourth quarter with a chance to beat the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs, and Mark Stoops decided to punt the game away. UK would get the ball back with about 10 seconds left or 20 seconds left on their own 15-yard line. Shockingly, not a better position than they were in before Mark Stoops decided to punt the ball away.
Oh, I have it right here if you still want to play.
Nah, it's not a big deal. It's just remembering last year. And it was pretty crazy that UK at home had a chance to take down the number 1 team in the country, and Mark Stoops decided just to punt the game away. No, thank you. Not interested. Let's let the number 1 team just control their own destiny instead of us having a chance at history. Thanks a lot, Mark Stoops. Welcome back in. This is KRC. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. We're going to do some Allen Electric Power Picks of the Week here in just a bit. But I do want to get to some of the other stuff that we said we were going to talk about on today's show, and that is the Tyron Stokes news. Producer Matt, are you up to date with the Tyron Stokes news?
I am.
Okay. The number 1 overall prospect in the class of 2026 has signed a multi-year nil shoe deal with Nike. Stokes said in a statement, partnering with Nike means I'm joining a team, a family, and a legacy. And we'll see where he goes. It seems like it's a 3-horse race at the moment between Oregon, Kentucky, and Kansas. And without trying to rivalry, I will say, Producer Matt, it is kind of crazy that U of L just fell off as big as they did, with him being obviously a Louisvillian or having ties to the city.
I mean, you're not wrong. He was definitely a dude who, for a while, I thought he was definitely a shoe-in with the way his family was talking and all the stuff they were doing in the city.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, just like some other recruits out there, one school gives you a lot of money. Kind of looking like where they're going to go.
I think the U of L fans should take that angle. We didn't want Stokes anyway. He was asking too much money. Will be a locker room problem. Take that angle. That'd be fun.
Kentucky taking the take any angle?
We didn't want him. He's not a good culture fit.
Understandable.
So not him and Mark Pope. No, after the in-home visit, when Pope beat up Kelsey, Kenny was not acting brave enough in the whole ordeal. No, that's a fun angle to go down. Just saying you didn't want the guy. But I thought Louisville at least would just, hey, Stokes, keep us mentioned for the number 1 player in the class. On the flip side, Pat Kelsey could also say, if you're not going to go to us, then let's all just stop wasting our time. I could see both sides of that. But it does seem to be a 3-horse race between Oregon, Kansas, and Kentucky. So here are the latest rumblings before this Nike signed shoe deal, which was rumbled about for what it's worth for a while. It was pretty clear he was going to be a Nike athlete. He played in the UIBL. He's always been Nike. It would have been a surprise had he signed with another shoe company. But the rumblings before, it was Louisville was fading, Kansas was surging, and he's taking a visit to Oregon. Keep an eye on that. So the visit to Oregon happened, and it's not like the Ducks moved to the front of the pack, but the national experts were saying, all right, Oregon's in the mix, though. And supposedly, here's the big one, Oregon's in the mix, and Phil Knight's getting involved. That was the rumor about a week ago. Then a week later, he signs this Nike shoe deal, which I don't think we know the amounts or the totals or anything like that. And let's not forget either that Kansas in the summer received the biggest sports donation in the history of college athletics, $300 million to the Kansas athletic program from a donor. Spend your money however you want, donor, but I could think of so many things better with $300 million.
But TJ, it was for football.
Than Kansas football being a little bit better in the Big 12. $300 million. Think how much work or time and effort put into that, and then you just give it all to Kansas? It's not all going to football, supposedly. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but supposedly it's not all going to football. The athletic department can actually use it how they want. They just want to use most of it on football. Well, maybe a little of that $300 million went to Tay Kinney, and maybe they're trying to get in good with Tyron Stokes as well. Hey, yeah, you can be a Nike athlete. You go ahead and take that Nike money, do a year in Adidas, and keep all your options open. You never know what's going to happen. I do think the Nike thing is a little tricky for Adidas in Kansas. Not something they couldn't overcome, but an issue for sure.
It says that a significant portion of it is to go to the football upgrades, and then they list $75 million towards the stadium.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of that is going to Jayhawk football.
And it says the remaining $225 million will create a new income stream to support Kansas athletics long term.
Sounds like one of their little entertainment districts that UK is going to try to do. Like, hey, let's build this so we keep having money, keep coming into the program, which is not a terrible idea. So it's interesting. Kansas has a bunch of money, but the shoe affiliation ain't going their way. Oregon has Phil Knight and the shoe deal to boot, but it's Oregon. Is he going to want to spend his 1 year in Eugene? It's a fair question. And then third is the Kentucky Wildcats, who have been the constant in this recruitment. They have always been mentioned at the top, if not the tippy top. But they don't have a $300 million donation, which I wish most of it was going to football for UK. And boom, $38 million just like that. Bada boom, bada bing. However, they've always been there. They are aligned with the shoe company, but if there's one, usually when you hear a kid signing with Nike, that's great news for Kentucky. If it's ever not so great of news, it's right here. When Oregon is maybe your biggest competition, or it's a 3-horse race between Kansas, Oregon, and you. So the Nike thing, it actually could hurt you in this instance. Because Phil Knight saying, yeah, listen, we're going to get you on Nike regardless of what you do. You go to my school with Nike, though, and I'm going to up the ante for you even more so. So it's a delicate spot for Mark Pope to be in, for what it's worth. And I think I briefly alluded to this yesterday, and I maybe didn't have enough time to fully dive on into it. I want Kentucky to be a player here. I don't want Mark Pope to get holier than thou and say, listen, I don't want to spend all of our money on this guy. We got a good thing going. We're going to be a little bit more balanced out. No, it's time to send a message. Get the number one player to Kentucky. Spend however much money it takes. You obviously have an insane amount of money if you can go 12 or 13 players deep. Go all in. See what you can do to try to match Oregon. If Kansas is going to outbid you, you got to change that. You need Tyron Stokes if you're Mark Pope. Now, could the 26-27 season be totally great and title aspirations without Stokes? Yes. And if they don't get Stokes, that's where I'm going to be aiming at. But this is a big spot for Mark Pope. On the national stage to go land the best player in the country and then to show what you can do with a star freshman. Because if you're going to be at Kentucky for a decade, I get it that maybe recruiting ain't going to be the priority that it was for John Calipari, but you're UK. You still need to go get the best of the best, and sometimes the best of the best is an 18-year-old. An 18-year-old won Cal's only national championship. He was the best of the best. Stokes is really good. It automatically checks several boxes for you when you're trying to put together a championship piece team with Stokes. Physical, rebounder, incredibly skilled, high ceiling, plays normally with a high motor. I wouldn't worry about that if he played for Bill Self or Mark Pope. Dana Altman, I don't know. Does he always get the best out of him? Man, Dana Altman, he went to that Final Four in 17, but what else has he done? Is he even still there? Pretty sure he is. But interesting stuff there with Tyron Stokes. We'll be sure to update it if we ever hear anything more on it. But, yeah, he is still at Oregon. He's been at Oregon since 2010. That's a long time. And he'll always have that one Final Four.
Clutching onto it for life.
502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. A texter saying we're going to get over to our Allen Electric Power Picks of the Week coming up here soon. Do you have a background song for that, producer Matt? I've got the power. Just something,
okay.
Maybe
I
just
remember.
college football music, just something fun in the background. Oh, yeah, didn't you do, like, the wrong ones?
Yeah, it was
weird and dark.
I love the power or something like that.
Yeah.
I just typed in the wrong one.
Yeah, I love Kenny Powers. Robert, to be fair, TJ, Stokes had this Nike deal since May. I just don't think it was officially announced. Yeah, it had always been rumored that he was signed with Nike. You're right, Robert, and I should have mentioned that. I think I alluded to, like, it was always thought. But I wasn't it officially official, though? Like, wasn't the deal rumored and now they just signed it? Or was it signed a long time ago and they just now announced it? But regardless, it was always thought he was going to be a Nike shoe athlete. Doesn't necessarily guarantee that he would go to a Nike school, but you'd like your chances if you were a Nike school. You'd rather him sign with Nike than the alternative. I wouldn't worry about the timing of the night comments and this deal, says Robert. Well, why not? Just because you're saying that this has all been in the works in a while. Well, okay, fair enough. You're right about all of that. This has been rumored for a while, and whether or not it was signed in the spring and just now coming out, or it was like agreed to in the spring and it's just now being signed, regardless of whatever angle you want to take. The quote coming out from Oregon visit from last week was that Phil Knight was getting involved. And now the news in high school basketball recruiting on this Friday is that Tyron Stokes signs with Nike. It could be a total coincidental nothing burger. I also think that it's probably Nike's way of also saying, like, hey, we'll be happy with whatever Nike school you go to. But we hope you had a really fun time last week at Oregon. But fair points all together there, Robert. Let's win some money for people. Money, 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 money. The hell is this?
This is like college football band music.
Making some bands to make some bands?
Yeah. What says more than college football than band music?
What did you search?
College football band music.
I'm just going to let this round out the show for 12 minutes.
We'll skip ahead. Hold on. We can jump around. You like that one?
My buddy, Clay B116, his favorite movie of all time was Drumline. Can you believe that? Pretty embarrassing, right?
That's an interesting take.
Yeah. Did you ever see it?
I've seen Drumline, yeah, with Nick Cannon.
Yeah, he couldn't read. He couldn't read the music or something like that. Ugh. All right, let's get into it. Do you have any picks for us today, producer Matthew?
Actually, I do.
All right, good. Normally, this used to be a fun little game. Like, Roush would pick 3, I'd pick 3, Scoots would pick 3, and we'd keep a running tally to see who was the best. I can say that I was the winner every single year. One year we did stop keeping score, but I was winning when we did that. That's a point of pride for me. That being said, we're not really keeping score this year. But if you ever want to start, producer Matt, you let me know.
Okay.
It probably doesn't hurt that I also keep the scores. But I'm an honest guy. All right, what do you have for us first, producer Matt?
So for the first one, we kind of already discussed it, but I told Scoots earlier, I already took it, and I'm following him. I'm taking the UK spread against Georgia.
Wow.
Plus 20.5. Like he said, Georgia and Kentucky always play it close. For some reason, Kirby Smart and Mark Stoops have some weird bromance going on. They give each other kisses or something at halftime. Keep it close.
The bromance is very easy to figure out. Like, Kirby Smart's like the best coach in college football, so Mark Stoops likes being in good company with him and likes that they're buddy-buddy. And then, of course, Kirby Smart's going to like Mark Stoops. It's a free SEC win every single year.
Exactly.
It's John Calipari and Mark Fox all over again. Shout out to Mark Fox. He's on UK staff. We love Mark Fox.
It's the epitome of, like, the Kenny Payne interview where he's like, I just kind of want to beat that guy by 1.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
But, yeah, I'm taking UK plus 20.5 against Georgia.
I really don't, hate that bet. I just don't feel good about it because history tells us UK is going to cover that number. And it keeps coming UK's way. So, obviously people are feeling good that it was just too big of a number, and now there's a course correction there. I'll win you a little bit more money. I'm staying away from the spread on that one because I don't know if this UK football team has quit. If they've quit, they're going to get blown out. It's going to be totally embarrassing. If they have some fight in them, I could see it being interesting in the second half. I don't think it's going to come down to the final possession or anything like that, but I could see, like, hey, if the ball bounces UK's way, who knows? Who knows? If they haven't given up. I have no idea if they've given up or not. That was a really bad second quarter at South Carolina, and that can have a lasting impact. But I'll win you more money on your UK plus 20 if that's what you feel good about.
Okay.
Take the under in this game.
Really? You think the under?
The only thing that would worry me is if Georgia puts up like 44 points by themselves or 40 points by themselves or hits the number by themselves, which I don't think any of those things are impossible if this UK team is quit. But assuming the game goes like I think it's going to go, which will be like a 27-10 Georgia win. Both teams are going to want to run the ball. It's not like Georgia's schedule gets any easier after Kentucky. They still have Auburn, a big rivalry game next, and Ole Miss after that. Hey.
The ad popped up.
No, it's just part of the marching band.
Just a little bit, yeah. Nice little skin ad.
Oh, okay. Are they showing some skin?
I wish, but they were not.
Okay.
YouTube doesn't really play that for their marketing.
But Georgia's got Auburn, and I think maybe there's a bye week sandwich between them. But their next two games, no, there's not. I was wrong about that. They play Auburn next week at Auburn, big rivalry game, and then versus Ole Miss, who's a top 5 team in the country. So I could see Kirby Smart with his buddy Mark Stoops across the sideline, hearing that Kentucky fans are starting to get a little disgruntled. Let's just get the hell out of here, guys. Let's win. Let's get our double-digit win like we always do, except for last year, and let's just get the hell out of here. And if that happens, both teams are going to want to run the ball, which is going to make that clock go by a little bit quicker. I do like the under. I like the under a lot. The only thing that works, and do we expect Cutter Boley to go throw and torch this Georgia defense? And I like Cutter Boley personally, but do we expect these wide receivers to get a great deal of separation on Georgia's secondary? How is UK putting up points in this game? I love Seth McGowan. I bet he has probably about 80 yards, 70 yards on the ground. It wouldn't shock me if he finds the end zone either. But how is UK scoring in this game?
See, for me, like, I don't disagree with the under at all, but I'm just surprised that you would take it, considering that you genuinely believe that, like, this team probably going to give up at some point. So, like, for me, like, I think it's like 48.5 is what the over-under is. And I feel like that's just, like, super low for this game. Because if Kentucky truly gives up in the game, I mean, like you said, Georgia's going to have to go out there and run it up to make a statement. And they've shown that they're susceptible to some pretty big plays, and Cutter Boley's the guy who, you know, I'm gonna throw it downfield. I don't care.
Well, okay, fair enough. That's actually a good point, worth bringing up. Cutter is just like a gunslinger. He could get lucky on a deep ball, and boom, Kentucky's in scoring position just like that. On the flip side, he's a gunslinger. They could be like a pick six, which that's just easy point, right? Like that's an easy way to get the over is special teams and defensive touchdowns. But Matt, Georgia could win 40-7 and the under still hit.
It could.
Georgia could get 40 points, and I still wouldn't be convinced that the over's hitting. And I do. Like my prediction, a little spoiler alert here, 5 minutes ahead of time, is I'm going to pick Georgia 27-10. And you've got the under about 10 points there. Again, you know, even if they scored another touchdown, 34-10, you're still good on the under there. And that's a comfortable win for Georgia. But both teams are going to try to run the ball, so the clock's going to be chewed up to begin with because that's UK's best chance of doing anything successful. It's not through the air. In Georgia, they're just going to be able to, so they're going to do it. So I like the under in that one. Do you have a second pick for us, Producer Matt?
I do. One other one. Scoots is going to hate this one. I'm taking Vandy plus 10.5 against Alabama this week. I am the biggest Diego Pavia believer on this planet. I think this dude is going to shoe in like a lock for the Heisman finalist. I don't think he's going to win. But, I mean, just the story of a Vandy quarterback being the Heisman, like the media is going to flood it, and he's so good. Vandy's defense is really tough this year. Alabama has looked weaker. I mean, they only put up, 20? What they win, 27-24 against Georgia?
Yeah.
Against a Georgia team that seems like a really weak defense this season. I think Vandy could possibly win this game. But
wow.
I'll give it to Alabama because it is at home. It is college game day. They're gonna be there. It's gonna be packed. But I think they cover this easily.
Okay. This didn't make my top 3, but maybe I will just because we're already talking about it. I actually like Alabama to blow them out.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm a Vandy believer. I'm a Clark Lee believer. Like they've done enough for me to be like, damn, they've actually got something cooking down there. But this, like, Alabama's had their sights set on this one. They're coming off a big win, which in some instances can be a letdown spot. But I just, like, DeBoer, he doesn't have very long leash. So you can't be at home and lose to Vandy. And really, you probably shouldn't be at home, especially with what happened last year with Vanderbilt and Alabama. I think they'll, similar to sending a message, Georgia, Kentucky, what you were alluding to, I think Alabama does that to Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Gets a huge win, tries to run it up where they can. Vandy is good, so they'll have something to say about that, make no mistake. I could see it being a close game, but even still, it could be a 7-point game, and then Alabama punches in a touchdown with 2 minutes to go up by 14, and bada boom, bada bing, it's a cover. I actually like the Tide to cover that one. I can't wait, though. I'll be locked in at 3:30.
I'm just going to believe in Vandy until they give me a reason not to.
I love that. Why not? I mean, they just keep winning, and they're having fun, and it's like it's where Kentucky football was not that long ago. All right, your final pick. Is this your lock of the week, or have you already spilled your lock?
My lock of the week is probably the Kentucky spread.
Okay.
But my last pick, this is the stinker of the week for me. This is just my fun one, and it's Delaware -2.5 over Western Kentucky.
Okay.
Delaware's beaten UConn this season. This is their first year ever in Division I football. UConn's not good, but they have a win over UConn, and they have a win over FIU this season. So that's two, FBS Division I programs who play in some okay conferences. And WKU has given up a lot of points, and they gave just 24 points to Sam Houston State, one of the worst teams in the country. They have a terrible defense. They're going to put up points. But, I mean, the Blue Hens, their first season in here, I think they're going to have something to play for. I think they're going to cover the spread.
Delaware football has a rich history.
They do.
Do you know any Delaware football alums?
I don't. But I do know that they've been like a really big deal in Division II and FCS for a long time.
Ever heard of Joe Flacco?
Oh, I didn't know he played there.
He was a Blue Hen, baby. Ever heard of Rich Gannon?
Actually, no, I have not.
The age difference between us.
That one I actually don't know.
He was a.
Unlike Matthew Stafford, that one I actually don't know.
He was a longtime quarterback for the Raiders when I was kind of growing up and getting into football. Rich Gannon was rocking and rolling. Matt Nagy, you familiar with him?
Yes, I know Matt Nagy, Bears legend.
Yep, well said. He also went to Delaware as well, and then Kenny Bailey, who I'm not as familiar with, he also went to Delaware. So they've got that stood out to me, and I was like, well, shouldn't Western be favored in that game? And then I kind of wanted to play into the stink with it as well.
That's why I like it. It kind of talks to me. It's like something Vegas knows something here that a lot of us don't.
All right, I've got 2 locks of the week for you. I don't normally do that. U of L is running it up on Virginia.
You think so?
Yeah.
I did see you tweet about this yesterday.
Yeah, and that tweet was like a little, maybe like a reverse jinxie sort of tweet, sort of deal. Like, if I'm wrong, oh no, I'm wrong. It ended up being a good game. But I really do. Like, Virginia, they were kind of lucky to win that game against Florida State. Florida State played horribly, and they still had chances to be able to win. I don't think things go that way for Virginia tomorrow. Louisville wins by 10+. 6.5 isn't nearly enough. And also, I think Louisville's played pretty bad. I think they're due for just a good game. On the flip side, maybe they're just not very good. But, like, getting down like that against Pittsburgh, and then they look much better after that. I think Jeff Brom has a good one in him for him tomorrow. And then my other lock, Scott Satterfield. Why are they 1.5-point favorites against Iowa State at Nippert?
Don't worry, everybody. I've turned TJ's mic off for it.
We are back on Monday, post-game show after the Cats and Dogs tomorrow. I hope it's a surprising, fun one, but call in all the same. Thanks to producer Matt for a really fun week, and all the texters in the Game Day Men's Health text line. Have a good weekend. Be safe. See you Monday or tomorrow.